diving deep right into the heart of horse racing predictions.
Yeah, we're talking about the DK horse San Felipe Stakes at Santa Anita Park. Big money on the line, huge GE dreams, you know what I'm saying. This is a Grade 2 Kentucky Derby prep race, so the pressure is on.
Oh, absolutely. And you've really outdone yourself this time, with the data. Racing forums, expert analyses, you name it, we got it.
Yeah.
It's going to be our job to sift through all this, see if we can uncover those hidden gems.
Yeah.
The kind that might just lead you to a winning ticket.
Right. Love that. The hidden gems. Always looking for those. So let's set the scene, all right? DK Horse San Felipe Stakes, Grade 6, that's March 1st, 2025, at the one and only Santa Anita Park. A mile and a 16th, that's a real test for these 3-year-olds.
No doubt about it. And it's not just about the money, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about those coveted Kentucky Derby points. I mean, this race could make or break a horse's Derby dreams. And speaking of contenders, looks like we got ourselves a pretty captivating mix, wouldn't you say? Speed, stamina, experience, especially those big three everyone's talking about. Let's start with Barnes. He's the 5-2 morning line favorite, undefeated, and trained by the legend himself, Bob Baffert. I mean, 33% win rate, that's got to mean something, right?
You're not kidding. And his Brisnet Prime Power, 142.4, the highest in the field, no less. But, and there's always a but, he's only ever run sprints before, so can he stretch out to a mile and a 16th and still dominate? That's the big question mark hanging over him.
Yeah, that's a big one for sure. One of the analysts put it perfectly, said, if Barnes stretches out, he's a star, but that's a big if. Okay, next up we got journalism, the 3-1 second choice. This guy's a closer. Remember, he won the Los Alamitos Futurity.
Yeah.
Came in with a powerful late surge. Real nail-biter.
Oh, yeah. His last race speed figure was a 99 Beyer, the best in the field. Got to remember that. Plus, he's got Rispoli and McCarthy in his corner, that jockey trainer combo. They got a 19% win rate together.
That's a killer combo, I'll say that much. But, and I hate to do this, there's a little wrinkle. He hasn't raced in 2 months. So will that layoff, affect his sharpness?
Well, another expert said, pace will be hot, and when the dust settles, journalism will be flying late. But the question is, will he be sharp enough to fly? After such a long break, that's the key.
Yeah, makes you think, all right, now let's talk about Rodriguez, our early speed demon. Nearly took the Robert B. Lewis Stakes, and his Brisnet Prime Power is nothing to sneeze at. Strong 140.0. So could he wire this field? If he gets an uncontested lead, that is...
It's definitely a possibility, if he sets the pace, avoids getting caught up in a speed duel, he could be tough to catch, but that's a big if.
That's what I was just thinking. If Barnes and Rodriguez get into a speed duel, wouldn't that set it up perfectly for a closer? Someone like journalism waiting to pounce?
Bingo. That's the strategic puzzle here, you see. Each horse's strengths play off the other's weaknesses. It's a beautiful thing, really.
Okay, so we got speed in Barnes, late kick in journalism, a potential front runner in Rodriguez. What about the rest of the field? Any other horses worth talking about?
Well, there's Mellencamp, a bit of a long shot at 8-1 and still a maiden, but he's shown flashes, Maybe a sneaky play for a superfecta, who knows?
Maybe, but this is a huge step up in class for him. I don't know, I wouldn't bet the farm on Mellencamp just yet. What about Smooth Cruisane and Berlin Wall? They seem to be flying under the radar a bit.
And for good reason. Let's start with Smooth Cruisane. He hasn't raced in 56 days. And the Brisnet form, well, it's got red flags all over it. Poor trainer win percentage, poor jockey win percentage this meet, poor speed figures. And get this, he's never even raced at a route distance.
Yikes. That's not exactly inspiring. Is there anything working in his favor?
Well, he did win his maiden race back in October, so there's a glimmer, right? But realistically, he's a long shot for a reason, gotta be honest.
All right, on to Berlin Wall then. Anything interesting about his story?
Well, funny enough, he actually won his last race. But there are some big buts, if you catch my drift. He's moving up in class big time, from a maiden special weight to a Grade 2 stakes. And his speed figures, not pretty, let's just say that. And his trainer, Steve Nat, well, he's got a pretty dismal record in graded stakes races, 0 wins out of 23 starts.
Oof. Those stats sound about as appealing as a muddy track. Anything else we should know about Berlin Wall?
Well, his last win, was actually due to a disqualification. The horse that crossed the finish line first got pumped down, so Berlin Wall got the victory. By default, really.
Interesting. So, a somewhat controversial win, coupled with some less than stellar stats. Are we saying there's a chance, however slim, that one of these long shots could upset the apple cart?
Honestly, it's highly improbable, I gotta say. The big three, they just got too much going for them. Talent, form, experience, you name it. Still, horse racing, it's full of surprises, right?
True, true. No one expected Rich Strike to win the Kentucky Derby at 80-1 odds, that's for sure. Okay, so we got the contenders down. What about the track itself? Santa Anita, does it favor a particular running style?
Excellent question. Looking at the track bias stats, Santa Anita's got a pretty noticeable speed bias on dirt routes. This could give Barnes and Rodriguez a little edge, something to think about.
So we got a potential speed duel on a track that favors early speed. This is getting good, folks.
It's a recipe for a thrilling race, and we haven't even gotten to the betting recommendations yet.
Ooh, now you're talking. What are the experts saying about this race? Where's the smart money going?
Well, based on the analysis we've seen, journalism seems to be the favorite among the experts. His closing ability, combined with that anticipated fast early pace, makes him a very attractive bet.
Makes sense. If Barnes and Rodriguez burn themselves out early, journalism could swoop right in for the win. So journalism for the win, got it. What other bets are the experts suggesting?
For the exacta, boxing the big three, 2, 3, 4, that seems to be the popular play. That way you're covered, regardless of which two of those horses finish first and second.
Smart, smart. And what about the trifecta? Any suggestions for those looking for a bigger payout?
The consensus seems to be a trifecta key with journalism and Barnes in the first two positions. 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that.
Let me make sure I got this straight. So you're betting on either journalism or Barnes to win. Then any combination of journalism, Barnes, and Rodriguez for second, and any of the top four for third.
You got it. By including Mellencamp in that final slot, you give yourself a chance for a bigger payout if he somehow cracks the top three.
I like it. A little bit of strategy, a little bit of hope. That's what horse racing betting's all about, right?
Right.
But we got to remember, these are just recommendations. There are no guarantees in this sport.
You're telling me. The most successful bettors, they do their own research, consider all the angles, and make their own decisions.
Well said. So we got a fascinating field, a track that adds another layer of complexity and some expert betting recommendations to chew on. Where do we go from here?
I think it's time to take a closer look at those long shots, Smooth Cruisane and Berlin Wall. They may not be favorites, but their backstories, their racing histories, there's some intriguing insights there.
Here's where it gets really interesting. I'm all ears. Tell me more about these long shots and why we should even consider them. I mean, come on, they're long shots for a reason, right?
All right, so long shot territory, huh? Let's start with Smooth Cruising. Remember, his recent form, not great. And he's stepping up to a route distance for the first time. Big jump. But here's the thing. He won his maiden race. And not just by a nose, by a full 6 lengths.
So there's some potential there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some hidden talent. But can he overcome those stats? And the lack of experience, it's a tough ask.
It is, for sure. But remember, we're looking for those hidden gems, those little hints, the things that might suggest a horse can, exceed expectations. In Smooth Cruisane's case, that maiden win, it's a glimmer of hope, even if it's faint.
Okay, I'm seeing a sliver of possibility, but it's a long shot, got to be realistic. What about Berlin Wall? Anything in his past performances that screams upset?
Berlin Wall, he's a bit of an enigma. His last win, technically a win, came from a disqualification. I guess you wonder about his true ability,
Yeah, a win's a win, but the circumstances matter. What about his other stats? Any hidden angles there that might make him worth a bet?
Not really. His speed figures are nothing special, and his trainer's record in graded stakes races, well, it's rough. Hard to find a reason to bet on him based on the data alone.
So we're filing both Smooth Cruisy and Berlin Wall under long shots with the very long shot. Sounds about right. Let's get back to the main contenders. We talked about the individual horses, but what about the bigger picture, the pace scenario? How do you see this race unfolding?
Fast early pace, almost guaranteed. We got 2 speedsters, Barnes and Rodriguez. If they both go for the lead, they could burn each other out. Perfect scenario for a closer like journalism.
That's what I was thinking. That speed duel could set us up for a photo finish, who knows? Could we see another 2019 San Felipe? Remember when Roadster came from behind and upset the favorites?
Could happen, but we got to factor in Santa Anita's speed bias, remember? If the track's playing fast, that could help the front runners, even with a duel going on.
So speed duel, a track that favors early speed, and a talented closer ready to pounce. This is going to be good. Getting those Derby Day vibes already.
It's going to be a nail-biter, that's for sure. And as we head into the final stretch of our deep dive, time to revisit those betting recommendations. Remember, they're just suggestions, but they might help you make sense of this race.
Okay, let's recap those expert picks. Who are the analysts favoring for the win?
Seems like journalism is the popular choice. His clothes and style, plus that fast pace we're expecting, makes him a strong contender. But horse racing? You never know.
Journalism for the win. A popular but not guaranteed pick. What about those who want to spread their bets? What about the exacta and trifecta?
Exacta, a lot of analysts are saying box the big three, 2, 3, 4, covers all the combinations.
Smart way to play it safe. And for the adventurous types, what about the trifecta?
Trifecta key with journalism and Barnes in the first two positions seems to be the way to go. 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know the drill.
So journalism or Barnes to win, then those two plus Rodriguez for second and any of the top 4 for third. Nice mix of strategy and potential for a big win.
Exactly, but remember, these recommendations, they're based on data and opinions, that's all. Horse racing, anything can happen.
That's what keeps us coming back, right? The thrill of the unknown. Now, gotta ask, after all this analysis, who do you think will win the DK Horse San Felipe Stakes?
Tough one. Based on everything, the horses, the pace, the track, I'm leaning towards journalism. His close and speed, it's going to be the difference maker, especially if those front runners tire themselves out. But hey, it's a horse race. Anything's possible.
It's anyone's race. And that's what makes the San Felipe so great, a puzzle with so many pieces. And the answer, well, we won't know until they cross the finish line. But before we wrap things up, one final thought for you. We've talked about the favorites, the long shots, the pace, even the track itself. But what about you? What's your gut saying? Do you see Barnes, with all that raw speed, overcoming his lack of experience at this distance? Or do you think a closer, someone like journalism, will come out on top?
The million-dollar questions, right? You got the info, the insights. Now it all comes down to your own assessment. Do you trust the data, the expert opinions, or are you going with your gut?
It's amazing, isn't it? We can analyze these races all day long, but there's always that element of surprise, that thrill of the unknown. That's what makes horse racing so darn exciting.
I couldn't agree more. We can make our predictions, but at the end of the day, it's up to those horses. They'll write their own story out there on the track.
Well said. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the DK Horse San Felipe Stakes, let's remember the key takeaways. This is a race full of intrigue, a potential speed duel that could lead to a wild finish.
We got a hot favorite in Barnes, a closing threat in journalism, and a wild card in Rodriguez. And hey, don't count out those long shots. You never know, right?
You've given me a lot to think about. I'm going to go finalize my bets and get ready for what's going to be a thrilling race.
Good luck with your bets. Hope you pick a winner.
Thanks. And to everyone listening, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of horse racing predictions. Remember, the San Felipe, it's more than just a race. It's a glimpse into the future, a sneak peek at the horses that might be contenders for the Kentucky Derby. So grab your lucky charms, place your bets, and enjoy the show.